Hey there, how's it going? My name is Drew Handley, and today I'm going to be speaking about the art of blacksmithing. I love blacksmithing. The smell of the fire, the feel of the hammer, everything about this ancient craft just gets me excited. I began blacksmithing when I was 12, and at that time I had I was the biggest noob. I had no equipment, zero knowledge, absolutely nothing. I spent the better part of 6 years learning the skills required to be a good smith, and that was mainly through trial and error. It's not an effective time spent. I taught myself forging techniques from YouTube videos, and I spent hours every day practicing them. When I first started out, I had no power tools, so I had to be really patient with my projects, and I couldn't afford to get upset with my mistakes. I first started blacksmithing to satisfy my childhood obsession with weapons. I was really interested in swords, knives, but as I learned more about the craft, I began to enjoy the forging process more than the final product that I created. It was fun to have a new tool at the end of the day, but it was more enjoyable to solve the myriad of problems that arose while making it. Blacksmithing is all about correcting mistakes, and luckily, I can solve many of my issues with a healthy dose of common sense. Besides giving me a chance to practice my basic reasoning skills, forging things on the regular gave me an outlet for my energy. It was really fun. It was a great way to spend my time. I don't know if you know this, but blacksmithing is the only craft that was uniformly practiced throughout the world, and it was a crucial part of the development of society as we know it. Blacksmiths around the world were responsible for the manufacture of everything from axes to spoons. Anything you see that's metal, and a good deal of things that are made of wood, a blacksmith's hands have touched. Smiths were also the world's mechanics, repairing and salvaging any and all ironwork that they could find. In the early days, the production of iron was very hard. It was a hard process. It was highly inefficient. So any amount of waste was disgraceful as a blacksmith. You had to find a use for everything. Now, despite its magnificent history and its high cultural impact, the art of blacksmithing has since been surpassed by mass manufacturing techniques. Currently, as described by machinists, it is seen as an old-fashioned and inefficient method of production. Despite the recession of blacksmithing as a major industry, domestic blacksmiths still find work to do. Modern smiths often make custom tooling orders or create parts for antiquated machines. And while it's no longer profitable for smiths to forge nails, there are still some jobs that only smiths can do. Historically, some blacksmiths were farriers, shoeing horses and providing a modicum of health care to these giant creatures. Modern smiths also help machine shops by preforming tools, reducing the amount of machining required to manufacture parts. This is a great help when you need to make one-off parts or one-off tools that are too complicated to efficiently mill or CNC. Now, unfortunately, there isn't enough custom production work to sustain the growing number of smiths. And in light of these challenges, many smiths have had to pivot and focus on the artistic virtues of their craft. As a smith, I personally believe that a well-forged door hinge that's a beautiful work of art. But most people are not educated on the amount of skill that it takes to create simple, functional household items. And to many people, something must be complicated to be beautiful. High contrast patterns and complex twirls are what draw eyes towards modern blacksmiths. I think that's a real shame because appreciating the simplicity of an item can give you better views on it. There's a beauty to be had in simplicity. But speaking of simplicity, blacksmithing can seem complicated, but there's plenty of information available to new smiths. When I was learning how to become a blacksmith, I watched YouTube channels such as Alex Steele and Random Hands. And more people can get into blacksmithing by doing the same thing, just going on the internet and learning. The online blacksmithing community is a very compassionate group of people. And unlike other corners of the internet, the blacksmiths of the world are completely without ego. They're happy to share their knowledge with others, and they always give encouragement. I think this is because, as a whole, blacksmithing is declining as a craft. It's really losing its relevance in a manufacturer sense, and blacksmiths now are trying to attract the new people. We want to be encouraging. We want more people to come to the craft because it's an important part of our history. As we learn to make things by hand, we can also learn how much work it takes, and we can see the value in handmade items. And I think that despite the benefits of cheaply manufactured goods, I think that we are losing a precious way of life when we let go of our historical crafts. When we give in to that consumer society and we look at everything at its price and how much it costs us, I think that we can't see past the price and identify the true worth of our possessions. I personally have learned a lot from blacksmithing. I've learned to see the world with the eyes of a craftsman, and I'm able to identify each and every feature, every design, everything speaks to me after having made so many things by hand. I love the world that I live in, and blacksmithing is one way that I can contribute to it. Even though people might not want, I'm going to be honest, people do not want hand-forged spoons. Those things are uncomfortable. But I can still generate art. I can still generate quality pieces that people can look at and people can appreciate that beauty. And hopefully that is enough to keep this craft alive, because it's very important that we never let go of what made our society the way that it is. For we were once grounded on individuals, on quality work that was scarce. It was hard to get a blacksmith. It was hard to make things. But because it was hard, we appreciated it more. And I really appreciate the art of blacksmithing. I give it 5 stars.